Most pepper plants look perfectly healthy, but produce 80% less than they actually could. That's not an exaggeration. The plant looks fine, it grows, it even flowers. But the harvest? A fraction of what it should be. And the reason has nothing to do with your climate, your seeds, or bad luck. It comes down to a few specific things that almost every gardener gets wrong. Things that are completely fixable. Once you understand them, your yield changes fast. Here's what usually happens. Someone buys a pepper seedling, puts it in a pot or garden bed, waters it now and then, and waits. The plant grows tall. It even flowers. But the actual harvest? Underwhelming. And the default response is to try a different variety next year, or blame the weather, or assume peppers are just difficult in your area. This is where most people go wrong, because none of that is the real problem. The real problem is that most people treat pepper plants like they'll just figure it out on their own. But peppers respond directly to how you manage them. They reward the right conditions generously, and they quietly underperform when something's slightly off. The good news? Slightly off is easy to fix. Pepper yield isn't random. It follows a logic. Every fruit on that plant requires energy. From the roots, from the leaves, from the structure of the plant itself. When that system is working, the plant supports a lot of fruit. When one part of it is struggling, production drops across the board. Think of it like a business running out of cash. It might look fine on the surface, but it can't scale. It drops what isn't essential. For a pepper plant, that means dropping flowers, producing less fruit, and just surviving instead of thriving. What we're going to go through are the specific things that directly control that system. Not complicated, not expensive. Small, practical changes that completely shift how much your plant produces. 3 things determine pepper yield. And here's where it gets interesting. Structure. The number of fruits a pepper can carry depends on the number of fruiting points, the places where flowers grow. A plant with one main stem has far fewer of them than a plant that branches out wide. And structure is something you can directly influence. Root strength. The root system is the engine. Everything the plant needs comes through the roots. Restrict them, and you restrict everything above ground. It really is that direct. Stable conditions. Peppers don't handle stress well. Inconsistent water, temperature swings, poor light. Every stress event shifts the plant's energy towards survival instead of production. Fewer flowers, more drop, smaller harvests. Fix those 3 things, and the plant does the rest. Let's talk about what actually goes wrong. Because this is where most gardens silently lose their yield. Letting plants grow tall without pruning. A tall single-stem plant looks healthy. It isn't efficient. Most energy goes into height and fruiting potential stays low. It feels wrong to cut a healthy plant. That feeling is costing you peppers, pots that are too small. The nursery pot. A seedling comes in is nowhere near enough for a mature pepper plant. Roots hit the walls, growth slows, and yield suffers, while the plant above ground still looks completely fine. That's the trap. Inconsistent watering. Heavy one week, almost nothing the next. That cycle creates constant stress, and stressed plants drop flowers before they ever become fruit. Not enough sun. Less than 6 hours of direct light, and the plant simply won't produce at its potential. No technique makes up for inadequate light. Now let's fix it. And this is where everything comes together. Method 1. Topping the plant. When your pepper has 4 to 6 true leaves, cut off the top of the main stem. Clean scissors, 10 seconds, done. Here's what happens next. And this changes everything. The plant can no longer push energy upward, so it redirects into side branches. Those branches grow out, and each one becomes a new fruiting point. Instead of one stem with a handful of peppers, you get a wide, bushy plant covered in them. One cut early in the season. The structural difference it creates lasts the entire year. Method 2. Root space. For containers, 10 to 20 liters per plant minimum. Make sure the pot drains well. Waterlogged roots collapse the whole plant from below. In raised beds or open ground, loosen the soil deep enough that roots can spread without hitting resistance. More root space means more water, more nutrients, more energy available for fruit. The ceiling on yield is often set right here. Method 3. Mulching. This one gets ignored constantly, and it's one of the easiest wins in the garden. 5 to 10 centimeters of organic material around the base. Straw, dried grass, shredded leaves. Keep it slightly away from the stem itself. What mulch does is stabilize the soil environment. Moisture stays more consistent. Root temperature stays more stable. And stable roots mean stable production. Method 4. Consistent watering. Deep and regular. Beats shallow and frequent every time. You want moisture reaching down into the soil so roots develop strength. The pattern matters more than the volume. Break that rhythm repeatedly, and flowering pays the price. Method 5. Sun exposure. 6 to 8 hours of direct sun. No workaround. If you're growing in containers, move them. Use that flexibility. There's no technique that compensates for poor light. This one is non-negotiable. Bonus method. Natural feeding. Too much synthetic fertilizer pushes leaf growth, but kills your yield. Instead, diluted nettle tea and compost. Steady nutrition. No spikes. No crashes. The plant feeds consistently and produces consistently. Top the plant early. Give the roots real space. Mulch the soil. Water with consistency. Get it into full sun. Feed it naturally. That's the whole system. And when all of it is working together, you won't recognize what your plants are capable of. Most gardeners spend years chasing better seeds, better products, better varieties. But the answer was never the seed. It's what you do after planting it.